OSG, OSG, change the game. Come together, bringing leaders, we don't play. Make a difference, being different, switching lanes. OSG, OSG, change the game.
I was diagnosed with kidney stones, and I first felt it on the night that I was at my school with Meet the Teacher Night. 650 amazing scholars entrusted to my care. And I had to deal with this in the very first week that school was supposed to begin. So it meant a lot to me to get this fixed and to get myself back in that building, but it didn't happen that way. It didn't turn out that way. And I spent time in 4 different hospitals in the course of 3 days, ambulance to 2 of them, where I was given a less than 10% chance of surviving the night, along with the fact that I arrived at that 4th hospital 30 minutes from dying because the kidney stone blocked my kidney and infection took over my body. I experienced something called sepsis. And so it was a huge battle, a big fight. I'm just grateful that I didn't listen to that 10% chance that doctors gave me, because here with all of you today in the OSG family is someone that's 100% a thriver, not just a survivor. And I just wanted to come on today just to share that message, to give us some encouragement at this time of year, and to let people know that, you know, there are things we're going to encounter in this world, but we got to have hope. We have to have the courage to keep fighting, and we have to want to survive and overcome and be a thriver. So that's pretty much what my story is about. It was on the happiest day of my school year that the most tragic thing happened, and people, they really expected the tragedy, the fact that I became a quadruple amputee in a matter of days. They expected that tragedy to dictate where I would go in life and to define me and how I would live the rest of my life. But that's not me. See, I decide the defining moments, and it happened 2 years to the date of when I became ill. And I didn't just walk back into that building, because I'm from right outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. And guess what? I second line my way back into that building as again. And I said, you know what? This work that I do, it saved my life, because that passion that was burning inside of me to get back to that building and model for my students what perseverance looks like, a living, breathing model of it. You know what? That's what really had me fighting to get back. 3 weeks in the ICU on a ventilator, months in the hospital, but that did not stop me, because I knew that I was on this mission and I couldn't give up. I mean, think of what was at stake, the lives of my students and their futures. I just couldn't do it. And so, you know, I always go into these difficult moments by thinking, what can I take from this moment? The moment that was supposed to be the end for me, it has become this beautiful new beginning, because now I get to be a living, breathing example of perseverance, and to show people that we have work to do and we cannot give up. We must not give up. And so that's what this whole story is about. My whole message is about. It's about the fact that I had this second chance at life. I was going to make every moment count, because every student mattered to me.
Your message of inspiration is truly one that lets us know that we can succeed if we don't give up. So talk about the message of not giving up. Like, what's on the other side of this if we don't give up, no matter what circumstance we're dealing with?
For me, everything I was looking for in life that I didn't know I needed was on the other side of that fear that kept trying to creep in, and that hopelessness that tried to bring itself forward by people trying to put labels on me. I don't know if you guys deal with that, but people tried to put so many labels on me before I returned, you know, that she has a disability, that she's limited, that she has lack in her quality of life. And all those labels are good, but I tell them I only want labels on my clothes and purses, because I am here to prove that I can do what I set my mind to do, and because I knew it was important. You know, I deliberately seek out joy. I deliberately look for how I can overcome something. And let me tell you what about that motivation. For me, it isn't about the awards, the accolades, and the recognitions that we get. I love those, and I appreciate everyone that I've ever gotten. Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year when I returned as a quadruple amputee. I appreciate those. But let me tell you what we have to do to stay motivated. We got to celebrate every day how much we've overcome. And every day I would find one thing that the day before I could not do, or I thought I could not do, and I would celebrate it big. And I say, set these big audacious goals for yourself, but look at how much you've overcome. See, I know for a fact every one of us have made it through 100% of our worst days. We're still here and we're still in this fight and we're going to continue in this fight. But what I do is I sit down and think about how much I've overcome, where I started, where I am, and I do it every day. And that keeps that fire burning. Because see, I don't live from that place of pain anymore. I relive it because I have purpose now. And that motivates me to share this message, to keep it going forward, and to help others to see just as strong as I am, you have it inside of you. Keep fighting. What do you want? Go after it. Because that fear is real. And if you let it creep in and let it dictate where you're going and it becomes your GPS, you're not going to get where you're trying to go in life. So I just stay motivated by looking at all the stuff we can overcome together. I think part of that resilience that we need is for us to listen, because their realities sometimes are things we can't even understand until we listen and we help them to accept it for what it is and then make a plan for how we can move to the next level. And for me, I just was unshakable in what I wanted in life. I set these big goals for myself. And I said, you know what? If you want it, nobody told you it's going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. You got to be willing to put in the work. So I think a lot of times with this society we live in, the microwave society, they want success overnight. We got to slow them down to say that everything that we have is right on the other side of effort and hard work. And so you cannot give up because you encounter, an adversity in your life. You got to show adversity who's the boss. And so I think for me, that acceptance of my reality and being able to be mindful of the stories I told myself and replayed in my head, and then connecting with people who were going or who have already arrived at where I was trying to go, that made all the difference in the world. I said, you know what? I got something to aspire to be, and I'm going to keep working, keep plugging, keep doing what I need to do. So, that's my best advice. Is what I kind of tell the people in my family who come to me who are struggling with things, that accept it for what it is. It's the reality, but it is not going to be our final destination, this current situation. Keep going.
Talk about the aspect of giving and how that has transformed how you now deliver messages to people that you talk to every day.
So one thing that you touched on that I wanted to just reiterate is how many times people come up ready to compare their challenges to mine, their struggles to mine. And I always remind them, your storm is your storm. It's raining. It doesn't matter how powerful the storm is, it's still a storm. But we're coming out of it because on the other side of that storm is the biggest rainbow we can have. That's the kind of mindset that I have, that by literally giving myself and giving everything that I had to getting back to that school building and being able to serve, because I'm a servant leader first. And that was all I thought about. How can I get back in that building and finish what I started as an educator? And in doing so, it actually healed me. It was something that pushed me so hard that I was going to therapy 3 times a day instead of once a day, so I could learn how to walk on these prosthetic legs and get in the building. So I literally believe that being an educator and having this sense of purpose, it saved my life. Now I know that by sharing the message with others who may be struggling with something completely different from what I struggled with, but they still have a challenge, that by sharing it, I'm healing them with my own words. And in doing so, I leave more fired up than the people I went out to inspire. So every time I give, I get. And I think people need to remember that old saying is true. It's about the giving, not the receiving. So every time I pour into someone else, my cup runs over.
How important it is for us to persevere in the midst of. And so I know you got a story. Just, you can make it real quick, man. How did Larry get to be Larry, the guy who's making such an impact across so many people, across the lives of so many people, not only in New Orleans, but across the country?
Before I get going into my story, man, I just want to, there's so many things. I knew I was in the right space, man. Ms. Shiro talked about, giving, and I've really been burying myself. Like, I'm in a very giving season, and I'm yearning, man. I'm yearning for a space. I've been yearning for a space to I've been going through a lot, like as far as on a personal and professional level, dealing with a lot with my board, with the ascension and recent successes we've had. But I've gone through a lot of personal, like, trials and tribulations to get to this point, man. So, and I connected the dots when she was talking about giving and like true leadership coming from that space, servant leadership. And I really found myself doing that and really leaning into that, man. And the return is coming back tenfold without even that expectation, like truly not having an expectation of getting anything back on this journey, but just giving in a place, you know, from a pure place. But I knew I was looking for a space. I've been on this journey, man, just like scouring the country, looking for a tribe, you know what I mean? Because I've been going through so much, man. There's so many situations that I want to talk about, I want to unpack, I want to interrogate as a Black male leader, particularly working in education. There's a lot of barriers, man. There's a lot of traps that could be set. So, you know, I like to tell people in short, my story is I've had to balance this equilibrium that a lot of Black men struggle with. This duality of experiences, being where I'm from and that becoming a part of me, but also being shown something better and grappling with that experience the entire time.
Make sure that you're listening, right? Because the people can reach out to you, but you have to be able to curate the conditions where people can feel the healing. And I know that as leaders, a lot of times we think we have to solve the problems for folks, but sometimes it's just sitting down and just listening and sharing your testimony. Scott Stewart and I had a very pivotal moment this week. I thought he was calling to check on me. He sent me a text message and said, "Power, I ain't seen you. You all right?" And I was like, and people oftentimes don't ask that because they assume because I'm such this big personality and have all this energy that I'm always all right. And I had to pause. And I said, you know what, I'm not. And that opened up the door for him to say, I'm not too. And we were able to share a really special moment and a very powerful moment this week because we were there for each other. And we listened to each other. And in my very make it happen way, I was like, all right, Stu, we got to strategically plan this. But in order for him to hear the strategic plan, he had to hear my struggles and we had to share how to get through it. So it's super important. I know I was supposed to be asking you questions, but I turned this into the power hour some sort of way. So I can't say enough is check in on folks. And not only check, don't just send a text to say how you doing and you don't do anything else. Say how you doing and how can I help? Because some of us who are going through it don't know how we doing, or we don't know how to articulate it, or we don't know what we need. So, and we're here, we can't continue to talk about how we're here for kids and here for communities if we can't be here for each other. And more than we ever think, there are a lot of people going through stuff, a lot of stuff. So check in and be a listener. Don't want to solve the problems. Try not to over intellectualize with people issues because all of us are smart and intellectually there. Sometimes we don't need to have our heads healed. We need to have our hearts healed. And this is hard work. So I want to say my work is as a healer. I am a healer. That's what I do every day when I come to school. So, and that is the way that I've been able to get through some of the toughest moments in my life is being able to provide healing to other people because every time I do it, I get something back.
Most profound mindset shift I had was to say that bad things happen to good people all of the time. It's how we respond in those moments that will decide whether we make it or not. And I just made this conscious decision to not let what happened to me rob me of my joy, my passion, or my purpose. And that's what I want us all to remember. We're connected here. We do this work day in and day out. It is not easy work, but it is the most rewarding work in the world. Don't let the stuff that's happening around us get inside of us and make us question our value, our impact, our worth. Don't let it make you wonder how you can get up each day and keep doing this work. Just always stay focused on proving what's possible because we know what's at stake. We do know what's at stake and people are counting on us. Our students are counting on us and we cannot let them down. So I just want to say persevere and let this little Valentine lady be a part of your heart forever. I am connected. Find me. I am here and keep doing it because what we're doing is changing lives and it's making our future brighter. So I'm never giving up and I hope none of you do as well.